morning, my people. It is my sincere honor, pleasure to introduce the czar of knowledge, Mr. Howie Nestel, for our educational moment.
Wow, thank you very much. That was awesome. You have a permanent gig. So, earlier this week was a Jewish holiday called Rosh Hashanah, which means head of the year or the Jewish New Year. So I'm sitting at synagogue listening to my rabbi's sermon, and I got very inspired, and I said, you know, I'm going to rip this off and share it with my people referral group. I did get clearance from my rabbi, so he will be tagged on this Facebook video. Are we too quick to judge these days? With instant communication through social media, lots of news channels regurgitating the same stories over and over again, it creates a lot of emotion, sometimes animosity within us, and we're very quick to pass judgment when we don't know the rest of the story. So the rabbi is a big baseball fan, and he talked about, and some of you might remember this, I don't follow sports, but I do remember this story because it went viral last year, about a Cubs baseball game where one of the hitting coaches picked up a ball and tossed it into the fans' first or second row. A 6-year-old or 7-year-old kid bobbled the ball and it went through his seat, and the guy behind him, a man, got a hold of the ball, he held it up, and then passed it to his wife. Somebody took 18 seconds of video of that and put it up on social media. Before the end of the game was over, there were tens of thousands of people commenting, sharing it, talking about how bad this guy, this man was for what he did and took the ball. So I see a lot of you nodding yes. Yeah. It made all the national news, it made all the morning talk shows the next day. There were two other people that saw what happened. By the way, the Cubs organization felt so bad because they put it on the Jumbotron and they saw what had happened, so they sent down a signed baseball by some famous Cubs player for the little boy. Well, at the end of the game, the little boy showed two balls, the signed one and an unsigned one. Turns out that another guy sitting next to the man who ended up with the ball saw what had happened. That man had actually caught a foul ball at the very beginning of the game and handed it to that very kid at the beginning of the game. He later on got a second foul ball, and then somebody else threw another ball, all three of which, including the original, he gave to kids around him. That fourth ball that the hitting coach threw into the stands, he ended up giving it to his wife towards the end of the game because it was their anniversary. And I guess she had complained that he had given all the other balls away. But those stories didn't go viral. But we all passed judgment on how bad this guy is, and on the national news, people said like, oh, I'd hate to be that guy showing up to work tomorrow when all this stuff happened online. So how often do we pass judgment on a client that we send an invoice to that took longer to pay? Do we assume that maybe she didn't get the email? Do we think that maybe he's running into a little bit of money problems and we need to just extend it a little bit, but that person didn't communicate that to us? How quick are we to judge and already have convicted and sentenced our client into something that we're probably wrong about? So as we go through this next week, this next month, let's start thinking about giving people the benefit of the doubt, at least until we find out, as Paul Harvey used to say, the rest of the story.